The pursuit of career, success, and marital happiness once served as the ultimate goals of my life, yet life has bestowed upon me the opposite. In the quest for career success, I resigned from an enviable job to venture out, only to end up in complete failure. Following the blow of unemployment, I was also hit by heartbreak. This series of life's setbacks compelled me to learn from my mistakes and take time to reflect on myself. Later, when I came into contact with traditional Chinese culture, I understood that all external circumstances are manifestations of our inner selves. We should shift our focus from seeking externally to seeking internally. What do we seek internally? It's seeking peace of mind and a clear conscience, acting and behaving with integrity. Acting with integrity means abiding by the laws of nature and conducting ourselves in accordance with natural laws. Learning to listen to the truest voice within is the most correct guidance in our lives. We live for ourselves, not for others. Only by living the way we truly want can we feel genuine happiness and satisfaction in our hearts. Only by following our conscience can we feel at ease and no longer be disturbed by external things. Only when our inner selves remain in a high-frequency state of ease and tranquility will we attract good people and things of the same frequency to us, because like attracts like. Of course, we can have everything, but we shouldn't be attached to everything. It's good to take only what we need, and just enough is better than too much. Once we develop a greedy heart, we will fall into a vicious cycle of consciencelessness. Too many desires are the root of a person's suffering. The fewer desires a person has, the stronger their sense of happiness will be, and the easier it will be for their inner wisdom and strength to manifest. We come into this world with empty hands and live with empty hands. In reality, there is no such thing as truly gaining or truly losing in life. What is truly valuable is the insight gained from life's experiences, which nurtures our inner growth and elevates our souls. Through our experiences in this material world, we reveal our unwavering true selves. This is the true meaning of life. The way we conduct ourselves and handle affairs should emphasize both methods and principles. The concept of being square inside and round outside means that our inner principles should remain unchangeable, while our external approaches should be flexibly adjusted according to the actual situation. Qi emphasizes the principle of yin and yang, aiming for harmony and balance. Therefore, in our behavior and actions, we should follow the middle path, grasping the appropriate degree. Neither excess nor deficiency is desirable. Problems should be viewed and addressed from a holistic perspective. What is no ego, no person, no sentient beings, no lifespan? Holistic thinking emphasizes seeing the whole rather than just a single aspect. Our family is a whole, our country is a whole, our planet is a whole, and even the entire universe is a whole, all closely interconnected. Therefore, when dealing with issues, we should adopt a holistic perspective and choose reasonable methods that align with the overall interests. Only by doing so can the outcomes be satisfactory. In both work and life, we should not be overly concerned about others' opinions of us. Different people have different views on the same thing. If we care about every single one, won't we just exhaust ourselves? We live for ourselves, not for others. For anything, we should first look for reasons within ourselves. Others are a mirror for us, reflecting our actions and attitudes. Through their reactions, we can observe how well we behave and make adjustments accordingly. We adjust until we feel at peace and content with a clear conscience. Then we need not concern ourselves with external responses anymore. As long as you behave in a way that is conscientious to your own heart, it doesn't matter how others see it. That's their concern. True strength is not about confrontation. It's about allowing everything to happen after you've made all the efforts. Accept and let go of everything calmly. At this point, your heart will become both gentle and powerful. We should learn to understand and respect others. Each person, shaped by their unique family background, education level, and life experiences, operates on a different frequency, leading them to make different choices and exhibit varied speech and behavior. Understanding this, we will no longer be so petty over trivial matters, and instead, we can genuinely understand, respect, accept, and tolerate others from the heart. The world is colorful because it is the result of mutual contrast between different colors and shapes. Each of us has our own unique perceptions, personalities, and hobbies due to our respective special reasons. Therefore, we should understand and respect others, and not measure them by our own standards. Allow ourselves to be ourselves and allow others to be themselves. But respect does not equate to recognition. One cannot change another person unless he is willing to change himself. Don't impose your own beliefs and ideas on others. You can make suggestions, but ultimately it is up to the other person to make choices and decisions. When you can't change others, change yourself. The ultimate kindness is to understand and respect others. In life, we often encounter many frustrating things. How can we maintain inner peace? Sometimes people suppress their emotions or endure them internally, but this is not true peace. True peace is a state of ease and relaxation without internal endurance. How can we achieve this state? The first method is to change your mindset, which means finding the beneficial side of a bad thing. For example, when you're already downstairs, on your way to work in the morning but suddenly realize that you've forgotten your phone and have to go up 7 floors to get it, you would naturally feel upset about it. But if you change your mindset and think, it's actually a good opportunity to exercise by walking up the stairs, you'll feel much better, won't you? For example, if you were deceived by someone for 100 yuan today, you could think of it this way: this experience has taught me a valuable lesson, preventing me from being deceived again in the future. Without this lesson today, I might have been deceived for even more money in the future. By thinking this way, your mood naturally becomes more peaceful, and you no longer feel the need to complain. This is how you can find the beneficial side in unfavorable events. Everything is the best arrangement, and everything that happens is for my own benefit. By viewing everything as good things will indeed come one after another. The second way is to learn to understand and respect others. Due to our different family backgrounds, education levels, and life experiences, we all form different perceptions, personalities, and interests, which in turn lead to different words and actions. Understanding this, when faced with people, things, or situations that we may not agree with, we can learn to understand others from their perspective. Naturally, our hearts will calmly accept, tolerate, and respect others. Only when our inner state is calm without any hidden tolerance can it be considered true calmness. The fundamental reason why a person encounters difficulties and unfavorable people or events lies in their inner fears. As the saying goes, what you fear most will come upon you. What you worry about will come to pass. This is a result of resonance and mutual attraction, where our external manifestations are matched with our internal energy state. If the inner self is abundant and content, the external world will also appear abundant and fulfilling. If the inner self is lacking and fearful, the external world will seem deficient and scarce. For example, the energy state behind "I must get something" is one of scarcity and fear. A low-frequency state. It means that I am afraid of the consequences of not getting this thing, so I must get it. A high-frequency state would be that I hope to get something, and I will do what I should do according to the laws of nature. I will accept whatever the result is, and my inner self remains calm. The difficulties and obstacles that stand before a person will only truly disappear when they are genuinely accepted and let go of from within. The more you fear and resist them, the more they will follow you like a shadow. Therefore, we should not dwell on the past, nor fear the future, but live each moment lightly, happily and calmly, following the laws of nature. We should do what we can and should do in the present. Eat when it's time to eat, sleep when it's time to sleep, work when it's time to work, and rest when it's time to rest. Do not rush for success in anything. Take it slowly, because haste makes waste, but patience brings success. If we can achieve this, we will surely have a bright future. The unity of heaven and humanity is a very important idea in Chinese culture, and achieving this unity has a profound impact on our lives. The unity of heaven and man includes two meanings. One is the harmonious unity between the tangible aspects of nature and humanity, which means that our universe is a whole. The second is the unity of human heart and heavenly principles on an intangible level. That is to say, what people think and do conforms to the laws of nature, conforms to the Tao, and is based on conscience. The Diamond Sutra states that if Bodhisattva has self, human, sentient beings, and longevity, then he is not a Bodhisattva. What is the state of selflessness, non-existence, sentient beings, and longevity? It's holistic thinking. Instead of seeing a single aspect, we see the whole. Our universe is a whole. Everything in the world is an inseparable part of this whole. It can also be said that I am the entire universe, and the entire universe is me. It may seem a bit hard to understand. Let's use our human body as a metaphor. Every cell and tissue in our body is a part of us. Yet each individual cell and tissue may not realize they belong to the same human body. They may perceive themselves as independent entities. However, this is not the case. Understanding this, since the entire universe is one, each of us and everything in the world is a part of this whole, a part of ourselves, then why can't we as people, as well as people and nature, and countries coexist harmoniously? Only when each cell in our body coexists harmoniously can our body be healthy. Similarly, only when people and nature, and countries coexist harmoniously can our lives be happy and fulfilling. When Yamin once said, "Where the mind is, there the thing is. There is nothing outside the mind." This means that the people, events, and things we encounter in life are all projections of our inner energy state. Our inner energy state attracts corresponding people, events, and things to us. If our inner world is abundant and content, our external world will also be rich and fulfilling. If our inner world is lacking and fearful, our external world will reflect that deficiency. Only when our inner state remains light, at ease, and calm do we attract positive and high-frequency people, events, and things. Because of resonance at the same frequency, they attract each other. The entire universe, at its invisible level, corresponds to energy. The visible, tangible form of the universe is determined by this invisible, intangible cosmic energy. For example, in the human body, traditional Chinese medicine believes that our visible flesh and blood are driven by the invisible key within us. The principle is the same. Since energy determines matter, how can we maintain a high-frequency energy state? To be in harmony with heaven and earth, to be united with the universe, to conduct oneself and one's affairs in accordance with the laws of nature and conscience. The yin and yang constitute the Tao as stated in the I Ching, emphasizes the principle of achieving harmony, or balance between yin and yang. Therefore, in our conduct and actions, we should follow the middle way, avoiding excess or deficiency. The Mahayana Sutra of Universal Brightness and Pure Luminosity, beyond words, states, the great bodhisattvas are all adept at adjusting their bodies and minds, possessing all kinds of liberation. They deeply understand the reality but do not dwell in it. They are skilled at distinguishing but do not cling to anything. That is to say, when encountering sins, the great bodhisattvas do not get attached to the sins themselves. They are good at shifting their perspectives to regulate their bodies and minds, keeping their inner peace. They understand the situations of the sins clearly and distinctly, but they do not judge whether the nature of the sins is good or bad, right or wrong. They simply accept and let go. Misfortune may be a blessing in disguise, and blessings may hide misfortunes. Fortune and misfortune are interdependent and can transform into each other. Sometimes what seems like a good thing can quickly turn into a bad thing, and sometimes what appears to be a bad thing soon turns into a good thing. Since we don't know whether something is good or bad, we should experience and accept it with a normal heart. We should not become arrogant in prosperity or lose hope in adversity, but maintain inner peace. We come into this world with nothing and live with nothing. In fact, there is no such thing as truly gaining or truly losing in life. The true meaning of life lies in experiencing this material world, growing our inner selves, elevating our souls, and revealing our unchanging true nature. Live the most authentic version of yourself. Confucius said at 70, I could follow what my heart desired, without transgressing what is right. One can only follow their inner will and preferences under the premise of being reasonable, lawful, and appropriate. Both asceticism and indulgence are undesirable. One should adhere to the middle way and strike a balance. The net of heaven is wide, but it lets nothing through. The tongue of heaven is fair, rewarding virtue and punishing vice. It may seem loose, but nothing escapes its judgment. For things that displease us, we should not rush to judge their rightness or wrongness. We only see what happens in this life, but we do not know the causes and conditions from past lives. Every effect has its cause. Since heaven allows things to happen, they have their reasonableness. Only by recognizing this can we truly accept, respect, and tolerate others. To allow everything to be as it is to be in harmony with heaven and earth, and to be united with the universe. This is not a sign of passivity, but a manifestation of inner strength. Do one's utmost and leave the rest to fate. We strive with all our might, never settling for less when we can achieve perfection. As for the outcome, we surrender it entirely to the heavens, accepting it wholly. By not coveting external fame and fortune, and understanding contentment, our hearts remain fearless, truly embracing and permitting all that transpires. Only then does our inner self attain genuine tranquility. In this relaxed, serene, and high-frequency state can we attract external abundance. Of course, we should not cling to this abundance, but only take what we need for the meaning of life. Does not lie in material enjoyment, but in experiencing this physical world to reveal our unwavering true selves. Without the pain of the heart, wisdom cannot be unlocked. Once wisdom is attained, the heart no longer suffers, viewing life's setbacks and hardships as stepping stones for growth. Gratitude naturally arises within us. By distancing ourselves from greed and hatred and cultivating a heart of gratitude, our lives will increasingly flourish. The Tao teaching says heaven and earth are unfeeling, treating all things as straw dogs. The sage is unfeeling, treating the people as straw dogs. Straw dogs refers to a kind of sacrificial offering woven from grass in ancient times for rituals, which was valued before the ritual but discarded afterward. This sentence means that heaven and earth treat all things, and the sage treats the people by allowing them to grow and decline naturally, without excessive intervention. This represents a natural law. In real life, some of us tend to interfere in others' affairs, especially when it comes to our family members and children. We insist that others follow our way of thinking and do things as we deem right, regardless of their feelings. As a result, conflicts arise. Facts have also proven that excessive interference in others often leads to unintended consequences despite our good intentions. Each of us has different preferences. What we like may not necessarily be liked by others. Therefore, we should fully respect others' wishes and not impose our ideas on them. We can offer suggestions, but ultimately, it is up to others to make their own choices and decisions. Each of us has a unique life script, which we have set for ourselves before coming into this world. It is a journey of learning, experiencing, and growing. So, we should respect others' destinies and choices and avoid interfering too much. Respecting others is, in fact, a form of self-cultivation for oneself. The reason we often want to intervene in others' lives and make them do things according to our own ideas is largely due to our inner fears and unfulfilled dreams or desired states that we hope to achieve through others. Therefore, we must first learn to let go. Regardless of the outcome, we should accept and release our grip, maintaining a state of inner peace. When we do this, things tend to develop in a positive direction. This is because the external people, events, and objects are projections of our inner energy state. Only when our inner state remains calm and high frequency will the external world manifest positive and high frequency people, events, and objects. By learning to respect others' wishes and not interfering too much in their affairs, conflicts between individuals will be reduced, and it will be easier to coexist harmoniously. The Tao teaching says, all things in the world carry the yin and embrace the yang. Through the harmonizing of qi, they achieve balance. This means that everything in the universe contains both yin and yang aspects simultaneously. Neither yin nor yang can exist independently. They rely on each other for growth and balance. Through the mutual adjustment and harmonization of yin and yang, a state of equilibrium and harmony is achieved. How can this principle be applied to our emotional management? For example, when others look down on us, our instinctive reaction may be to feel uncomfortable and negative, but we can think in our hearts that as long as we behave reasonably, legally, and with a clear conscience, it doesn't matter what others think. That's their problem. My happiness and sadness should not be based on others' approval or disapproval. When such positive emotions arise, my mood will naturally become calm. In times of success, view yourself with humility, so as not to become arrogant or overbearing. In times of adversity, hold yourself in high esteem, and avoid falling into pessimism and despair. Regard those stronger than you with a bit of humility, so that you won't feel intimidated or constrained in their presence. Look upon those weaker than you with a bit of respect and treat them with courtesy. In summary, one's emotions need to be appropriately adjusted through a shift in mindset to achieve a state of peace. The Diamond Sutra says, the Buddha speaks of the world, yet it is not the world. It is named the world. One should generate a pure mind in this way, not dwelling on form to generate a mind, not dwelling on sound, smell, taste, touch, or dhammas to generate a mind. One should generate the mind without dwelling on anything. If one sees that all phenomena are not phenomena, then one sees the Tathagata. This means that in real life, we should not be attached to the things themselves when encountering people, events, and objects, but should transform our thoughts and states of mind. By doing so, things can be handled more satisfactorily. For instance, if I am giving a speech to a large audience today, I can think to myself like this: I'm not giving a speech to the audience today. I'm simply expressing my truest thoughts by thinking this way. I won't feel nervous and can instead perform well, achieving good results. Similarly, when we are developing and producing a product, my focus isn't on how much profit it can bring me, but rather on how it can benefit consumers and make their lives easier. Products developed with this mindset will naturally be well liked by consumers, and profits will follow. The same principle applies elsewhere. In summary, we should not approach life and work with a goal-oriented mindset. Instead, we should base our actions on actual situations and natural laws, make reasonable choices, and not set rigid expectations for ourselves. If we can do this, the outcomes will be even better. This is also known as the principle that great things happen when we don't force them. Flowers don't bloom when planted with intention, but willows grow effortlessly when planted without. The Tao teaching says Tao can, Tao none, eternal Tao. This sentence means that from the perspective of the Tao, what is right in some situations may be wrong in others. There is no absolute right or wrong. The division between right and wrong has no fixed standard and should be reasonably adjusted according to the actual situation, taking into account the person, the matter, the time, and the place. This is the constant and unchanging principle that aligns with the laws of nature. Confucius also said, "Nothing is absolutely right or wrong. The criterion for judging whether an action is right or wrong lies in its actual situation and whether it is reasonable and sensible. It should not be constrained by knowledge and beliefs. What is reasonable and sensible is right for that moment, and what is not is wrong. We should make reasonable choices accordingly. For instance, let's say we have two health maintenance methods in front of us, one recommended by a well-known expert and the other by an ordinary person. After personally trying them out, we find that the second method makes our body feel extremely comfortable, so we should choose the second method. We should not stubbornly adhere to the notion that what experts recommend must be the best and mistakenly choose the first method. Later, as our constitution changes, the second method no longer suits us, but the first one does. At this point, we should switch to the first method. This is just a simple example. The same principle applies to our behavior, work, and all aspects of life. We should choose reasonable and appropriate ways to do things based on the actual situation. As the situation changes, so should our approaches and methods. By using reasonability as the criterion for judging right from wrong, good from bad, we are more likely to handle things satisfactorily. Chapter 1 of the Tao Teaching, Tao can, Tao none, eternal Tao. From the perspective of the Tao, what is right in some situations may be wrong in others. There is no absolute right or wrong. This is a constant and natural law that the division between right and wrong has no fixed standard, and it should be reasonably adjusted according to actual situations, varying from person to person, from case to case, from time to time, and from place to place. The criteria for judging whether the approach to a matter is right or wrong is based on the actual situation and whether it is reasonable and appropriate, without being constrained by knowledge and beliefs. An approach that is reasonable and appropriate under the senses is considered right at that time, while one that is not is considered wrong. One should make reasonable choices accordingly. For instance, if we are presented with two health preservation methods, one recommended by a well-known expert and the other by an ordinary person, after personally experiencing both, we find that the second method makes our body feel extremely comfortable. In this case, we should choose the second method. We should not stubbornly adhere to the notion that methods recommended by experts are always the best, and mistakenly select the first one. As time goes by, one's constitution may change, making the second approach unsuitable but the first highly suitable. This applies to all aspects of our life, including how we conduct ourselves, work, and live. We should choose reasonable methods based on actual situations. When circumstances change, so should our ways of doing things. Name can, name none, and common name. The definition and naming of things are not fixed. The constant name here refers to defining and naming things based on their unique properties and functions. When the unique properties and functions of a thing change, its definition and naming should also change accordingly. It can also be understood as not casually defining or labeling people or things, and not allowing oneself to be limited by superficial definitions and namings of people or things. For example, arsenic when used alone is toxic and thus called a poison. However, when combined with certain medicinal herbs, it can treat some diseases and is then termed a remedy. Nothingness is the beginning of heaven and earth's existence is the mother of all things. The origin is the beginning, the source. The source of heaven and earth is nothingness, which can also be understood as the initial, chaotic energy that existed before the formation of the universe, creating the world out of nothingness, or in other words, making something out of nothing. Existence is called the mother of all things, referring to heaven and earth, which have created and sustained all creatures, making them the mother of the world. The invisible cosmic energy gave birth to heaven and heaven and earth in turn gave birth to all things in the world. In other words, this invisible cosmic energy created all the tangible things in the universe. The concept of non-being and being coexist, just as the principles of yin and yang coexist in the I Ching. Therefore, often one uses nothingness to observe its subtlety. Often one uses existence to observe its superficies. The visible surface phenomenon of a thing is determined by its deep-level invisible energy state. The surface phenomenon is the effect, while the deep-level energy state is the cause. When observing the visible surface phenomenon of a thing, one should reflect on what its deep-level invisible energy state is like. For example, the people, events, and things we encounter externally are all determined by our internal energy state. If our inner self is abundant and content, our external world will also be abundant and fulfilling. If our inner self is lacking and fearful, our external world will also be scarce and deficient. Only by maintaining a relaxed and peaceful high-frequency state within oneself, only external factors can reveal high-frequency good people and things. Because of resonance at the same frequency, they attract each other. These two have the same nature, but their names are different. They are both called mystery, and mystery, the gates of all wonders. The concept of being and non-being are two sides of the same coin, coexisting simultaneously, merely differing in name. The tangible surface phenomena of people, events, and objects are determined by this deep-seated, invisible state of energy, which is the mystery of it all. We often only see the surface phenomena of people, events, and things, and strive to seek externally, not realizing that these tangible surface phenomena are determined by the deep, invisible energy states. When we observe the surface phenomena of people, events, or things, we should reflect on their underlying energy states and make appropriate adjustments and improvements. By understanding the deep-level energy state of people, events, or things, we can discern their surface phenomena. This is the principle underlying the existence, generation, transformation, and development of all things in the world. Chapter 2 of the Tao Te Ching. It is widely known that beauty is beauty, but evil is evil. When all people under heaven acknowledge the beautiful as beauty, it is because there exists ugliness to contrast with it. Everyone knows that what is good, but what is not good is not good. The reason why people know what goodness is because there exists evil to contrast with it. There is no mutual generation. Difficulty and its complement each other. Lengths are compared. Height is inclined. Sound is in harmony, and front and back follow each other. Permanent also. The generation of being and non-being mutually fosters each other. Difficulty and ease facilitate one another. Length and shortness are compared to each other. High and low complement each other. Musical instruments and human voices harmonize with each other, and front and back follow each other. This is an eternal truth. The concepts of beauty and ugliness, as well as goodness and evil, exist relatively in contrast. When a fixed standard is used to define beauty and goodness, the dualistic opposites of ugliness and evil emerge. That is to say, as long as they do not meet the fixed standards of beauty and goodness, everything else is ugly, evil, and bad. If that's the case, it often leads to a lot of contradictions. If we define beauty, ugliness, goodness, and evil according to fixed standards in real life, where situations are constantly changing, it would be very rigid and unrealistic. The judgment of beauty, ugliness, goodness, and evil should be based on the actual situation and whether it is reasonable, rather than fixed standards. For example, using a fixed standard to define goodness. So some people pretend to meet that good standard on the surface, but behind the scenes they do bad things. So can this be called goodness? The understanding that the feelings towards people, events, and things generated in the context of comparison are relatively existent and not the most authentic feelings. For example, if someone has a dignified appearance and previously felt good about herself, but one day she encounters someone even more beautiful and dignified than her, she may start to believe that she is very ugly, feel bad about herself, and become burdened with negative thoughts. For another example, the living standards of ordinary people like us are much better now, compared to the pre-reform and opening up era, but when compared to wealthier individuals, we feel that we are still lagging behind, which affects our mood. These feelings are relatively generated through comparison with others and are actually unreal. Nowadays, many people in society are unhappy and involved in intense competition, often caused by feeling a gap when comparing themselves to others. Therefore, in work and life, we should not compare ourselves with others. We should experience our truest feelings and be content as long as we feel good ourselves. To learn to love oneself, one must first accept one's own imperfections and embrace whatever state one is in at the moment, allowing oneself to find peace. Only when you can accept yourself will others accept you. Do not care about others' opinions of you, as long as your behavior is reasonable, legitimate, and you can live with your conscience. It does not matter how others see you. That is their business. Do not base your happiness or sadness on whether others approve or not. If we can achieve this, we can truly feel happiness and joy. It is the practice of the sage to do nothing and to teach without words. So a sage acts in accordance with the laws of nature and is not confined to fixed standards, but rather based on the actual situation. Do reasonable things to assist in the natural development of things. Example is better than words. Instead of educating others excessively with words, one should guide and influence them by setting an example. Why do all things work without saying goodbye? The law of nature dictates that all things grow and develop according to their own rules, and the Tao never rejects or abandons them. Born without possession, the Tao gives birth to all things but does not claim them as its own. Do without presuming. The Tao, though it has accomplishments, does not boast of its own abilities. It does not rely on its own capabilities to display its value, disclaim all achievements one has made, to achieve success and win recognition without claiming credit for one's service. Because you don't take credit, you don't lose it. It is precisely because one does not claim credit for oneself that their achievements will not be forgotten.